This conference will now be recorded.
Third meeting of the Town of Ocean Ridge. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Sure will. Commissioner Ayala,
Here.
Commissioner Hutchins,
Here.
Commissioner Cassidy,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Cos.
Here.
And Mayor Beal.
Here. Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so you see the agenda before you. Pen's leaking. Is there any deletions, modifications to the agenda?
Yes, under Commissioner comments at the end, I want to add in a discussion about beach patrols, let's call it.
All right. Beach Patrol, number 18. And I would like to add an update on town manager's evaluation. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have an additional presentation from the FDOT on the upcoming Ocean Avenue project,
All right, where do you want to put that?
just after the proclamations.
Okay. Do number 2. A. DOT. All right, anything else? Are you hearing anything? Would someone make a motion, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, presentation and proclamations. Kelly?
Okay, the first proclamation is the Let's Move Palm Beach County Month for March 2025. Whereas the Town of Ocean Ridge takes special notice and acknowledges exceptional organizations that help residents who live, work, and play within the jurisdiction. And whereas in 2010, Digital Vibes was founded to reach out to underserved youth in Palm Beach County by empowering them through dance, fitness, technology, and the arts. And whereas Digital Vibes partners with the Palm Beach Health Foundation annually to hold the Let's Move Commit to Change Physical Activity Challenge, a county-wide initiative that focuses on physical activity, nutrition, and healthy behaviors. And whereas Digital Vibes Inc. and Palm Health Foundation present the annual challenge, which takes place annually from March 1st through the 31st, and encourages individuals within and beyond Palm Beach County to take charge of their health by participating in fun fitness exercises. And whereas the Let's Move initiative was originally introduced on a national level by First Lady Michelle Obama in 2010, with the goal of decreasing childhood obesity throughout the United States due to the fact that nearly 1 in 3 children in the United States are overweight or obese. And if this problem persists, 1/3 of all children born in 2000 or later will suffer from diabetes at some point in their lives, or will face other obesity-related health problems such as heart disease, high blood pressure, asthma, and cancer. And whereas Digital Vibes and the Palm Health Foundation invite all residents to take the challenge to move by forming teams, registering online, committing to exercising for at least 30 minutes a day throughout the month of March, and logging their minutes on the Let's Move website, www.letsmovepbc.org. In 2012, Palm Beach County logged 100,000 minutes in the first year of the challenge, and we have met the challenge each year since, rising in 2023 over to 100 million minutes logged. Now therefore, I, Jeff Pugh, Mayor of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Let's Move Palm Beach County Month and urge all citizens to join in moving to improve their fitness, mental health, and overall health.
Thank you.
Then there's one more proclamation, which is the Government Finance Professionals Week of March 17th to the 21st, 2025. Whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association is a professional association founded in 1937 and serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges, and universities, special districts, and private firms. And whereas the FGFOA is dedicated to being your professional resource by providing opportunities to education, networking, leadership, and information. And whereas this Government Finance Professionals Week, sponsored by the FGFOA and all of its member governmental organizations, is a week-long series of activities aimed at recognizing government finance professionals and the vital services that they provide to our state and our community. And whereas during this week, government finance professionals throughout the state of Florida will be acknowledged for their hard work, dedication, and leadership. Now therefore, I, Jeff Buick, Mayor of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim March 17th through 21st, 2025 as Government Finance Professionals Week in the Town of Ocean Ridge, and extend our appreciation to all government finance professionals throughout the state and here in the Town of Ocean Ridge for their hard work, dedication, and leadership.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our announcements.
The presentation.
Oh, the presentation for the DOT, sorry. You guys are up. This is regarding the East Ocean Avenue improvements that are beginning next week, I believe.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Lavana Ojeda. I'm the Community Outreach Specialist for this Road 804 East Ocean Avenue Resurfacing Project. Financial project ID 447-669-1-52-01. This project, if you can move on to the next slide, please. This project is gonna cover the State Road 804 East Ocean Avenue from State Road 5, US 1 Federal Highway to State Road 81A, North Ocean Boulevard. Next slide, please. The purpose of this project is to aim for a long-term resiliency for State Road 804 East Ocean Ave, and also by milling and repaving and enhancing roadway safety for all roadway users. It's going to cover the span of 0.587 miles. The contractor that will be conducting the project is Wheatley Asphalt Paving Incorporated, and it will start March 10th, 2025. The estimated cost of this project is $1.3 million, and it is anticipated to be completed late 2025. So to improve the roadways, to enhance the long-term infrastructure resilience and safety for all roadway users, including motorists and cyclists, we will be milling and repaving the existing roadways within the project limits, upgrading signage and pavement markings, including bicycle markings. Next slide, please. For pedestrian improvements to enhance pedestrian safety, connectivity, and visibility, we will be upgrading curb ramps and replacing sections of the existing sidewalk within the project limits, upgrading pedestrian signals at State Road 81A North Ocean Boulevard, and installing rectangular rapid flash beacons, also known as RRFBs, at the Northeast 6th Street crosswalk to enhance pedestrian safety. We'll also be installing LED lighting at the Northeast 6th Street and State Road 81A North Ocean Boulevard to enhance pedestrian safety and visibility. Traffic impacts. We're going to work in phases to minimize the impact to the public. Lane closures are permitted daily and will utilize flaggers to direct traffic as needed. Pedestrian and cyclist access will be maintained at all times throughout the project with detours that align the construction phase. Access to all businesses and residences will be maintained at all times. The FDOT community feedback is at the core of all we do. To receive project-specific updates, please email me, Solana Ojeda, so sojeda@coradino.com, and I can add you to a confidential distribution list where I can send you weekly updates on construction activity and traffic impact. On Fridays, I also send out a weekly press release with all of Palm Beach County traffic impacts from all our projects. We will also have a project-specific webpage, which you see the webpage right there. The QR code right there also will bring you to our project-specific webpage, which we will have a video presentation on that as well. You could also contact, for any questions about the project, the construction project administrator, Davin and Harry, who is actually here today, at davin.harry@DOT-State-FL-US or 561-370-1110. Michael Miller, PE, he's the construction project manager, can also be reached at Michael.Miller #2 at dot.state.flus, and his phone number is 954-815-2151. And my information is there as well. You can always contact me as well. The project team is also here. I have Tuck Lee, who is the design project manager. We have Gerard Jarrett, who is also with design, and Alex Matias, who is also with design, as well as Davin and Harry. If you have any questions, we are here to answer them.
So we can ask some questions from Davin, he's coming up. Mr. Harry will be coming up too.
Hi, David and Harry.
So FDOT has a large 36-inch pipe that feeds, it's an intercoastal waterway, and it feeds the lines that go into East Ocean Avenue on our side. And what happens is during these king tides and that thing's not cleaned out, it floods that whole road. So I'm wondering did you take into account king tide dates regarding when you're going to be doing the work? Everybody can answer that question, because if you're milling the road during the king tide, you're not going to be milling the road. Please come up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this project is to enhance the pavement. So during the design phase, we have addressed that drainage issue that not part of the scope of this project. So the flooding.
Well, that's not my question. You're going to be milling the road on East Ocean Avenue, and you're going to be repaving that road.
Correct.
Right, on our side. My question is, during king tides, that road has about 12 inches of water on it. And it's because, a lot of times, because FDOT has a 36-inch pipe that's in the intercoastal waterway. And when we call you guys to fix it, they at least come out and you got to scrape it. I'm wondering if you plan on maybe scraping that pipe prior to doing this work so that that water during king tide doesn't come up and flood the whole road, because now when you mill it, it's going to be, 4 to 6 inches lower. So we'll even have more water on the road. So I'm wondering if the tide dates have been accounted for during the milling dates on this side of the.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may.
Can you speak?
You gotta come up.
Sure, good come up. So, Tuck and I have been with the job since the beginning of it. As far as the milling and resurfacing goes, you're absolutely right. If that occurs, they're not gonna mill and resurface during a king tide event.
Yeah, but that stretches the date. That's what I'm asking. Have you taken those dates into account in those tide times? Because I mean, they're very
It's a
well.
good point, they should be.
Yeah.
So there will be.
We give the contract 190 days,
Right.
97 days to be exact for this. So they have to, they have to schedule it. And
Around that, just like a rain day.
Okay.
weather days and holidays, also part of that. So
Well, there's two things, because it's not just the dates of doing it, milling. It's say you mill the road. Now the road is now much lower. So rather than have a foot of water, now we've got 18 inches of water.
If I may, the same day that they mill it, they'll resurface it.
Oh, great.
Okay, they'll never leave a milled surface out there.
Well, then that,
So the main
Is in
difference
contradiction
will
with-
be an inch at most.
all right, well, here's my question then, because then you were asking for an extension of time of day. I don't think we got to that yet. A time where you could work.
Mhm.
So be working later in the evening? Right? Wasn't that what we talked about earlier?
For paving.
So if you're working, you're not gonna be milling after in the evening and then doing the paving at the same time, are you?
And I can't speak for the construction, but my years of experience tell me they'll come in and they mill, and then they come back and they resurface before they open the traffic back up. So you won't have people driving over that milled surface. It's not an ideal condition by any means.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, well, maybe I'm not being clear enough.
sorry.
The question was, and the also reason being here tonight, you guys being here tonight, that you wanted to ask also the town of Ocean Ridge, hey, can we work after a certain amount of hours where we stop work? 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Mhm.
Mr. Harry was saying they like doing it at night, which I can understand because there's a lot less traffic.
Sure.
Well, you can't be milling at night next to these homeowners that are right there. I mean, the
Right.
noise would be ridiculously loud.
Resurfacing.
And then because you're going to be resurfacing at the same time. but you're gonna be milling.
Servicing during the same work period,
Right.
same work day.
Right, so if that
Before
day's
they
after,
take the cones
if
out.
it's after 6 o'clock, I guess, if it's after 6 o'clock, will you be milling, yes or no?
I
You
don't,
have to
no, I
ask the
don't
question
think,
to the contractor, the construction guys aren't.
You see what I'm saying, is if you want to
Yes,
extend the times, what exactly are you doing at those
Okay,
extended
well,
times?
during the day, they're gonna be, like I said, the first phase is the concrete and the curbs and the holes. When they get to the milling,
Mhm.
most of that milling going to be done during the day,
That's-
right?
Thank you for answering the
And
question.
during the day, and they're also gonna, all the drainage, all the gutters and the holes gonna be blocked up and cleaned. You have what we call gutter buddies.
Right.
That will block everything from going in. They'll make sure they clean, sweep everything, very good. Then that's when they come in the night to pave. They cannot mill in the night, it's too noisy.
That's my point.
Okay, so that milling
You can
makes
pave.
them,
Right, that's my point. You can't mill at night.
no, the
But-
milling gonna be done during the day.
Okay.
And it will probably done way before 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then they'll come in the evening and do the paving.
Before they open the traffic back, before they take the barricades off. and
No,
open
I understand
up
all,
back
I mean, yeah,
traffic.
I've
There are
seen,
circumstances where if they happen to mill more than expected to pave, they will, you could drive on the middle roadway, but not more than 24 hours.
okay, but I'm not just primarily, there's two things. One, the noise factor of milling, so it's during the day, great.
That's during the
You've
day.
cleared that up. The second is the fact that you've got to watch the tide because you wouldn't believe the water that's on that road at King Tide. So what happens is somebody has an electric car. How many cars is the chief going to have to tow out of there because they're underwater because of the fact that we've lowered the road? I mean, even though you say we milled it and do it the next day, but you're still, at some point in time, there may be that milling, both driving on it. And the water, by the way, the water doesn't go this way, it comes from the air coastal this way.
Yeah.
That's what we're mostly concerned about.
But we only got to mill in 2 inches of the roadway.
Right.
There'll
But
never be a 6-inch
And
differential.
that would
Most
be a
is two.
section differential. And if for some reason, let's just say we have rains or whatever, we'll have to put what we call mulch, not mulch. We'll put some base material so that we could always come back and clean that up and do repaving.
What-
At no given time, we'll leave anything too deep for water to,
Okay. And which side you starting at? The west side or the east, our side?
So it's a contract.
Up to the contract.
the contractor will decide that. They will be out here tomorrow, because they were stopped last time, they were doing some videotaping,
Mhm.
because they have to do what we call the before and after, which is,
This document exists.
they have to document the existing condition, also vibration testing on the whole works. Because when they're doing, especially the milling, or they're doing tampering or whatever, you want to make sure that most of the buildings, the vibration, we don't have a vibration effect.
Okay, I'm just asking if you would, please, look at when, with the
Okay.
contractor, when that actually.
I'll know
because
that by probably tomorrow or Thursday.
When they submit
When
the
they-
schedule.
They will submit what we call a 3-week look ahead schedule on which side they want to start.
Okay, and
We
because
prefer to
looking
start-
at those tide schedules is gonna be, it's gonna be huge for a contractor, because literally, maybe he doesn't understand when you see it, it's hard to believe how much water, it goes almost all the way to A1A from the edge of the bridge.
Okay.
So that's how much water we're talking about, and it lasts for a whole tide event.
And we will be updating this progress weekly, the project progress weekly.
That would go to town manager.
Be updated.
So as long as we have all three there, first, the presentation, that's one of the best, most clean and visual presentations we've ever got here.
Oh, yeah.
It was so easy to digest, so really appreciate that. You used the word enhanced paving. What does enhanced mean?
We mill out all the rut, the crack and all that, and resurface with,
So it's not changing the height of the road.
No.
Okay,
Yes,
that's number one.
payment condition, yes.
Then you said, I think you said upgrade pedestrian safety. That's all on the west side of the bridge.
That is correct, right,
Okay.
where the restaurant is in the highway.
And the last thing is this press release that you're putting out. Is that gonna go out, put on our website? How are you gonna deal with that one?
As soon as we get the press release, it'll go on our social media, our website, and Civic Radio.
Okay, good.
Here, if I could add to that, we are waiting to have our, sorry. We have a project flyer that we're waiting to get approval on. And as soon as it's approved, I'm gonna send it to you all so you have it and you can distribute it to your community members.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Are you gonna do one side of the street at a time so that there's still
Yes.
opportunity for egress? Okay.
Actually, are you guys responsible for that berm, or is that the Army Corps of Engineers? You know, the pond there that's supposed to.
These guys, that's DOT's property.
So a year
On
or
both
two
sides.
ago, we were discussing, and FDOT was gonna raise the berm walls, the berm sides. Is that part of this?
No,
No,
Have you heard about this?
Yeah,
not for 1.3
So we're
million.
just, it's never gonna happen.
they're essentially a different
different
project.
project.
Different.
This one's more to do with just a roadway,
Yeah,
and then there's
Gotcha.
no go.
all right.
Very good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll go to announcements. Kelly?
The meeting scheduled for the next month is as follows. The regular town commission meeting will be on Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The community standards hearing that was scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled. The planning and zoning meeting on Tuesday, March 18th at 9 a.m. The board of adjustment meeting will be canceled as well. All meetings are held in the commission chambers at town hall. Just a reminder, there will not be a municipal election in March, as only one candidate qualified to fill the one town commission seat. The candidate that qualified is Steve Cos. Commissioner Cos will be sworn in the office at the town commission meeting on April 7th. The town commission will consider appointments to the following board positions at the May 5th, 2025 town commission meeting. Board of Adjustment, we have one regular member for a 3-year term and 2 alternate members for 3-year terms. And Planning and Zoning Commission has 2 alternate members for 3-year terms. Interested residents must be registered to vote in Ocean Ridge, available for the monthly meetings, and submit a resume and letter of interest to the town clerk by the deadline of April 23rd at 3 p.m. The town will be providing a free shredding service to the residents of Ocean Ridge and Bryan Breezes on Saturday, April 5th from 9 to noon in the back parking lot at the town hall. For more information regarding this event, please visit the town's website. Residents who wish to sign up to receive important town notifications and news through Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call town hall for assistance. And Chief Scott Blair has an introduction to make.
Can I have, yes, ma'am? I just want to introduce everybody to some new hires that we have here at the police department and dispatch. We have a very strong police name. This is Officer Powers. He comes to us via NYPD after 9 years. And he's here with us now, so we're happy to have him. He started. We have our 2 dispatchers, Jessica Murdoch, another big, Murdoch is a big company too. She started in January, and she's from Powers County. She just started, and then Kendall, Marioni, started today.
All right. Well, welcome. Welcome, and we hope you stick around. All right, now we'll move on to public comment. Come on, Sally.
Oh, you want to go first? No, you go first. Good evening, Sally Howell, 27 Harbor Drive South, and the president of the Ocean Ridge Garden Club. I just wanted to remind everybody about Sunday, March 16th is our 2nd annual garden tour and boutique. Thank you for the support of Lynn and Chief McClure and Kelly in getting this organized, as well as Stella for helping us with the setup. We'll have a pop-up boutique here, which will feature, I think, 7 or 8 vendors. We've got 6 gardens and 2 homes, and our dune, which we've just been refurbishing. So it'll be an exciting event. There's some flyers that are outside for us, and you'll see some signs around town. But thank you for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry?
Terry Brown, Harbor Drive South, the president of the garden club, lives right next door to us. And I volunteered, Lucy and I volunteered to water some of the plants because there's no water there. So we have to take a 5-gallon bucket up there and board on the plants. So that's our contribution.
Go to Dunes?
Yeah, they just put a whole bunch of, have you not been by there?
Yeah, no.
It's beautiful. And they have a beautiful bay cedar. We hope it does well. I wanted to just ask a couple of questions from the last meeting. We talked about Lynn's evaluation. You're going to talk about it later. But those evaluations, I didn't know if you were going to decide if it was going to be public included in the package, or would someone have to go to the clerk and ask for a copy of the evaluations?
That is a public record, Christie, but it is public record and you'd have to just go to the.
So we would ask the clerk for a copy of all 5 evaluations.
You may.
And we wouldn't be charged a fee to get that.
Well, you would be, but they didn't know that.
That's already happened. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, a former commissioner, Ken Khalil, and I were talking coming in, and he's concerned, as we are, about some of the crosswalks not having sufficient signage. Now, you're not going to do the flashing lights and all that because that costs too much money, except they work really well up there at the inlet. So I don't know who needs to review that. Like the one right out here, it doesn't have a sign in the middle of the road, which it used to have. And some of the signage approaching some of these crosswalks, I don't think are sufficient. But I'm not the traffic engineer. I know that the chief is supposed to be the traffic engineer, but at least in the charter. So if someone could look at that and see if we can get better crosswalk signage.
Chief, you look at that?
Certainly, I know that those signs, every crosswalk does have a sign in the middle of the road, but unfortunately, people run them over.
Yeah, but this one's not been there for a couple of years.
We report it to DOT and then we have to wait for them to come and.
But this one's right near the public park that I'm talking about.
I thought we went through this, and Lynn, we ordered spares of those little guys standing up in the crosswalks.
I think
Like-
so, yeah.
So we might actually have the garage.
Well, I thought we were replacing those, not
Yeah.
DOT.
Well, did we have to purchase the signs? I thought DOT paid for the signs, but I know our maintenance would.
Nobody's shaking their head.
Well,
Nobody
well, here's the deal. We've always replaced them.
Yeah.
Because Billy always complains about how many he has to constantly replace. So can we just keep them on hand and just replace them? Because by the time FDOT goes out there, who knows how long it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Hard for them to figure out tie tape.
That's something that I think we all need to look at. The other thing I was going to bring up is that, and I believe you had discussion of it, of elected sitting commissioners attending the independent board meetings. I don't see any reason for them to do that. I think that you could discourage it by establishing a protocol of conduct. It's troublesome when a commissioner attends the Board of Adjustment meetings, comes up to the podium and speaks either for or against a particular applicant. I just think that doesn't look good. I don't think it looks right, and I think that you could establish a protocol for conduct. It would have to apply to all the commissioners, and ask that don't happen. When someone appears in the audience, the commissioners that sit up there, the P and Z, they recognize it, they talk. I mean, it's just doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
Didn't we stop that last year?
You can't stop it because the fact of the matter is that they're a member of the public just as much as they're a commissioner. So, and it's also a public meeting.
Oh,
So-
I'm not suggesting that you can stop it. I'm suggesting that you could discourage it by establishing a conduct, a protocol. One of the municipalities had a commissioner that was acting up, and they established a rule. That they can violate the rule, but are you telling me that a sitting commissioner can come up to the podium on a Board of Adjustments meeting and make it a comment about whether or not it should be passed one way or the other?
Christie, that's your wheelhouse.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, they can actually, because if it's a Board of Adjustment variance, quasi-judicial hearing.
Right.
Supposed to be decided based on the record presented. An appeal of that decision goes to circuit court. It does not come here. Now, if the Board of Adjustment's hearing an issue that can be appealed to the town commission, there would be an issue with a commissioner discussing and making a public comment about their position on that, because then they possibly would have to recluse themselves from sitting up here to hear that same issue.
Right. So, but they would need to, at a quasi judicial meeting, they would have to be sworn in.
For quasi judicial, typically we don't swear in with general.
Tell everybody who's gonna speak has to stand up and swear in.
You can always take the position that you don't swear in because you're just providing public comment. And technically, public comment is not evidence, so you don't have to be sworn in.
All right, well, that's good to know because that's not what's been happening.
Well, generally, we swear everybody in at the beginning, so you can stand up and swear in, or if you want to just stand up and make public comment, you don't have to be sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ready?
I kind of do.
Oh,
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Carolyn, want to say something?
I'm sure that was directed at me. I do attend as many meetings as I can to educate myself, and I am almost always just sitting in the audience observing. The reason I've been going to planning and zoning lately is to listen to the comprehensive plan updates that we have to discuss tonight. And as far as Board of Adjustment is concerned, I have never made comments in Board of Adjustment. And the only questions I asked in planning and zoning have been with regard to the comprehensive plan update as a citizen.
Thanks, Carolyn. Betty?
I couldn't hear all of what the people who want to change Ocean Avenue said, but they ruined it every time they touched it. They were supposed to put a flop down that wouldn't let the water flood the street through the runoffs. One, as you know, they could stop the water. Number two, they took the whole septic system, cement tank out of the middle of the road down at the south end when they rebuilt the road, which caused awful lots at the south end of the town to settle. So I think we ought to take a very careful look at what they're doing. I sometimes don't think they know what they're doing.
Thank you, Betty. Anyone else for public comment? Carol? Janet?
Carol Bessler, 5906 Old Ocean Boulevard. I come here tonight. Please bear with us. We put together some pictures from our event that we held on Thursday. Keeping with the posted mission statement of the town of Ocean Ridge to create and maintain a beautifully landscaped, diverse seaside community built around the family and civic pride. We saw that civic pride personified on Thursday evening at the Palm Beach Resort. We certainly saw the best of Ocean Ridge on Thursday evening. The picture that's up now is of our committee that put together that event on Thursday evening. Kelly. It was a sold-out event. We exceeded our fundraising goals. It was attended by more than 1,000 residents and supporters. We received updates from multiple town officials, Starbright leaders, and the GM of the O Resort. He's a local resident in town, Tim Nardi, that lives in Ocean Ridge. We want to thank our town leaders for their support of the event. Mayor Jeff Pugh, Commissioner Dave Hutchins, Commissioner Einar Anjala, Commissioner Carolyn Cassidy, our town manager Lynn Ladner, the chief of police Scott McClure, and all the officers that showed up to support us, our town attorney Christy. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Just a little history, we had an initial matching sponsor donation which kicked off this event. When we met that goal through the generosity of the O Palm Beach, that was our diamond sponsor, another resident stepped forward to initiate another matching donation. We gave ourselves until the end of the year, reluctantly, to only hope to raise the funds. Before the night was over though, the generosity of Al Nar and Judy Kelly who are no longer residents of Ocean Ridge, and of course, no strangers to Ocean Ridge, we met the matching goal. Al and Judy had a hand in many Ocean Ridge projects over the years, which I know many of you know about. Again, I want to thank you and bring Janet forward. This was an outstanding event, exceeded all of our expectations. We were certainly able to meet our quota and fund everything the police chief asked us for. We're very happy about that, and we hope to continue doing more work.
Thank you.
Thank
So I
you.
know everybody's wondering what happens next, right? So for all the residents listening in or here, for all the commissioners, Chief Lynn, we would like you to contact us, tell us what programs and initiatives you want to see us work on. We raised enough money to do 2 more significant initiatives for town, so we'd really like to understand what they are. As you know, the drone and camera initiative was significant, right? It was about $44,000. So we can do 2 more big initiatives, we think. So we'd like to work with you, work with the town officials to identify areas for support. The drones and camera project fully funded and underway. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say, bingo, March 19th at 7 here at Town Hall. So please feel free to join us. And just reiterate what Carol said, it was a magnificent evening. What was so wonderful was to see 100+ residents of the town engaging with people, talking about how much they love the town. And I'll just close by saying that there is data that shows that towns that do events and charitable things, a wonderful thing that Garden Club is doing coming up, bingo, the thing at the O, their house values go up and people want to move to those towns. So it's good that we're all helping the town, but it's also good we're creating a bit of a great brand for Ocean Ridge because we all know how much we love to live, work, and play here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joe? I don't know.
Joe Belmonte, 5600 North Ocean Boulevard. I just want to make a comment on a discussion that was taking place, not last meeting, but the meeting before, and it had to do with Terry and Betty, and they were talking about the sand buildup north of the jetty coming into the difference between Manalapan and Ocean Ridge. And back in the 1970s, I was very much involved with the beaches. And I had a film which was on a reel, and I would stop in all the libraries, not all of them, but a lot of the libraries between Florida and New York, and show what would happen to the beaches and how we could keep our hands off the beaches, and about barrier islands that are, by definition, movement all the time to protect the land. And what we do is immediately take a barrier island and put macadam on it. And but the point I wanted to bring out is that, of course, the Gulf Stream goes from south to north, but the littoral drift is along the coast and it goes from north to south. So the discussion was about the sand buildup on the Manalapan side, and that is certainly what was happening. And I met with a fellow professor from Duke University, and I stopped and had lunch with him. And he, in one of his books, brought out the point that there were 2 towns that were on the downward side of the littoral drift. One was in the northwest and one was down in Brazil. And both towns fell down into the water because the sand was not building up, because they put a jetty to go up there. And when I moved to Ocean Ridge about 23, 24 years ago, that was one of the things I looked at the beach was okay, we're on the wrong side of that jetty that sticks out there. And so the sand is going to wash away. So when Betty said, all that sand is building up in Manalapan, and Terry was a little adamant about that, but agreeing with her, I had to think about that. But the sand was very good at that time. It was a great jogging beach. So I said, okay, don't think the town will fall into the water, because now we have beach replenishment, which we didn't have so much 50 years ago. So I just wanted to bring that point up about the 2 fine people. That was a whole segment into, I want to thank these 2 for being here and contributing so much, especially Terry and especially Betty. And I just remember when I first moved in, there was a knock on the door, And I live at the Ocean Ridge Yacht Club, knock on the door, and here's Betty talking about voting for her. And of course, that led the Ocean Ridge Yacht Club to put up gates. Really, I just came up here to say, bring attention to these two who are here at every meeting and contributing so much. And then Ken Khalil walked in, and I said, okay, he was the mayor shortly after I got in and did a fine job here. So Ken, thank you. And Terry and Betty, I just want to thank them so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Stella?
Stella Cole, 204 Beachway. I want to address the police situation that I feel that we don't have enough coverage on the beach. And it came to my attention that our police force takes care of Boynton Beach Police. Boynton Beach. We police it. And we do not get paid for it. Now, I had a discussion with Scott about it, and he said that's the way it always gets done. Now, Boynton Beach is making between 60 and 70,000 a month, every month with their parking. Why are we not getting, some money back for providing a service? We don't get anything back. I don't understand why it's not looked into. I think it's a loss of funds. And that's what I wanted to say about that. The other thing I'd like to say is, especially on the weekends, especially during this time where it's spring break and whatever, why do we have these ATVs and they're not on the beach?
That's added to the agenda.
Okay, but I can't comment on your agenda, right?
Yeah. At the end, we're gonna discuss it.
Okay, then that's all I have to say.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
I didn't think
Anybody else for public comment?
Lucy Brown, 23 Harbor Drive South, married to former Commissioner Terry Brown, who contributed so much, and I appreciate that, and Betty and Ken Khalil, because we live in a town where people care enough when they're no longer on the dais to come here and make the town better. What's the best thing about our town? The beach, Old Ocean, right? Right? We care about the weekends so that we can go there and have a good walk on the beach. We know that because Ocean Ridge has ordinances disallowing work, noisy work on the weekends. So that's great. However, there is one thing that really is irritating on the weekends. Can you see that picture?
Nope. Mm-hmm. Trash can?
You've seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This was today.
What time of day was that?
Early in the morning.
Yeah, the guy doesn't come until late.
Yeah, well, here is my problem. We have a commission, we have a town manager, we have interested former commissioners, and we have to see that when we walk every week on the beach. I mean, those were beautiful pictures of the event at O, and you said they were the best of Ocean Ridge. Why on Old Ocean on the weekends, we have the worst of Ocean Ridge? We have something that looks like a slum.
Yeah.
Not an upscale place. And if you want a project for Starboard Drive, I mean, how much could it cost to pay someone to collect the garbage on the weekend? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Monday, Wednesday.
Lynn, you want to look into that again, please? I know we looked into it. It's hard to get anybody to come working out on the weekend. That's the problem.
I can't believe it's so.
I know, me
If
too.
you go to Palm Beach and walk on the beach, you will not see that.
I agree with you 100%.
Evening.
Evening.
Roy Shines, 120 Dolphin. That's certainly right for not coordinating with you, because that's why I got up in the first place. Just walking the beach yesterday and seeing all the nonsense in the trash cans, right, overflowing. And when I first moved here 7 years ago, you could walk from my house to the Beachway crossover and not see anything on the ground. Now, people that come from across the bridge, if the trash can is full, they just throw it on that little stretch between the beach and the next road. So I noticed the same thing. Sorry for bringing the same thing twice, but it irritated me. And I live close enough that I could easily grab a trash can and, put it at my house and put it by the street, but I don't think I should have to. So maybe we can just up the frequency of the cleanouts, or, because I understand we do that with a third party, right? It's not Billy, right? So
No.
maybe we go a little more often, in season.
It's the weekends.
Yeah.
Hey, Lynn, look into our provider, and see if what they can do, a commercial provider.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other public comment? Hearing none? All right, let's move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, our public hearing items. Corey, up on you, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Corey O'Gorman, Town Planner. I'm joined this evening by Jim Fleischman from Land Research Management, and we're here to talk about the agenda item for the comprehensive plan update, the ordinance 2025-01. And as you know, local governments are required to update their comprehensive plans every 7 years. And on April 1st, 2024, the town sent the Florida Bureau of Community Planning and Growth the required evaluation and appraisal notification letter, and the state responded the following day with the required acknowledgement. Since then, we've conducted our own review of the current comprehensive plan. We've met with staff and consultants for input and potential changes on the current plan language. And we met with the Planning and Zoning Board at their meetings in October, November, December, and then in January for general overview of the current plan and the update requirements, discuss the requirements and workshop potential changes. And at their January 21st meeting, the Planning and Zoning Board had the required public hearing and made a recommendation of approval for the item that's in your agenda this evening. The hearing tonight is the first reading of the ordinance to adopt the amendments to the comprehensive plan and transmit the proposed amendments to the various review agencies, including the Regional Planning Council and departments within the state of Florida government, including FDOT, DEP, and others. Their review will conclude with any comments that they generate and any objections that they have to our proposed amendments. Any objections expressed by the review agencies will be addressed in revisions that we would draft and then adopted in a second reading at a future date. And if there are no objections raised by the review agencies, the town can adopt the amended comprehensive plan as it's currently drafted. At this time, I'd like to introduce Jim Fleischman, who will review the proposed amendments in some more detail.
Thanks, Corey. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, my name is Jim Fleischman, Land Research Management, and I assisted Corey in the preparation of the revisions to the comprehensive plan. The agenda that you have tonight contains essentially three documents. The first is ordinance 2025-01, which is on pages 21 through 24. And that, with that, we are asking the commission to consider approval of the comprehensive plan amendments on first reading. The second document is the EAR-based amendments to the comprehensive plan itself. That document is on pages 25 through 89 of the agenda. And the third document is an EAR-based data and analysis, which presents a lot of the background information that we use as the basis to draft the comprehensive plan amendments. My presentation will focus primarily on document number 2, the EAR based amendments, which are included on pages 25 through 89. All of the proposed amendments to the text are highlighted in yellow magic marker with those with the wording that is underlined, additions to the current text, and the words struck through are deletions to the current text. The proposed amendments can essentially be grouped into three categories. First of all, the notification letter that Corey mentioned that was submitted by the town to the state last October itemized several items that we were going to address in the update process. We got a letter back from the state saying that those items are fine, go ahead and go through the amendment process. The second category of changes are items that Florida statutes requires the town to address. Some of those requirements required that we make some amendments to the plan. And the third category is any changes in local conditions that were raised by staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission during the review of the comprehensive plan. These three categories of amendments are discussed separately in the data and analysis report on pages 90 through 114. Rather than go through these three categories in any kind of depth, I'd like to go through what we consider the major revisions to the comprehensive plan. And I'll refer to specific pages in the comprehensive plan updates so we can put that on the overhead so members of the audience can see it. The first major revision is the deletion of the Boynton Beach water supply plan from the comprehensive plan. The current comprehensive plan consists of around 90 some odd pages, and 45 of those pages is the Boynton Beach water supply plan, which was done years ago and is totally out of date. So we're recommending that those 45 pages be entirely deleted, which greatly reduces the volume and makes the comprehensive plan a lot more readable. The basis for taking out the Boynton Beach water supply plan is a change in the Florida statutes, which has made it much easier for small municipalities like Ocean Ridge that have one water supplier who is responsible for doing its own water supply plan. We just have to have some policies in our plan that coordinates with Boynton Beach's, and we also have to update our population projections, and that's essentially it. So we're taking out the Boynton Beach water supply plan consisting of 45 pages and adding it and making revisions on pages 53 and 55. So we're taking out 45 pages and doing 2 pages worth of amendments. The second major revision is the removal of the 5-year schedule of capital improvements from the comprehensive plan and deferring it to the town's annual budget process. This is another recent Florida statutes revision. Up until recently, each of the comprehensive plans had to have a 5-year schedule of improvements in it, which was to be updated by a comprehensive plan amendment each year. The state has
has backed off on that and has allowed local municipalities to prepare their 5-year schedule of improvements as part of the town's budget process, which the town does. So by removing the 5-year schedule of improvements from the comprehensive plan and continuing to do a 5-year schedule of improvements in the budget process, we're meeting the state requirements. The third major revision is the update of the town's resident population projections based on the 2020 census updates and countywide projections prepared by Palm Beach County. The 2020 population of the town was 1,830 permanent residents. We're projecting or estimating, I should say, 2025 at 1,899, and projecting that population will increase to 1,972 residents by 2035. In summary, that's a growth between 2025 and 2035 of 73 residents. Obviously, the town is essentially built out and is not expecting much population growth. The fourth major revision consists of policies 6.1 and 6.2 of the future land use element, which is on page 33 of the agenda. And that's one of the major updates, revisions to the plan. And it was made primarily because of the direction of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And it relates to the town's multiple family residential future land use schedule. The commission directed staff to make the following change. There's the current multiple family designation is just a single designation, which identifies all of the multiple family.
Excuse me, which page are you on? Because you're referring to page numbers that don't track with what I've got in my book. I just try to be on the same page. Which page of the second document is it?
Well, the one I have is on page 33.
Is it 4 dash, mine says 4-3, 4-6, 5-1.
Yeah.
You're too
Page
high.
57. Say again? 1-5?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow there. I just.
Well, no, that's okay. I thought I was reading from the agenda.
It's just different, yeah.
I apologize. Right now, there's one future land use category, which is multiple family residential. The Planning and Zoning Commission directed us to essentially divide that into two categories, a medium density and a high density. And with the medium density to have a maximum density of 5 units an acre, and the high density to have the maximum density of 10 units an acre. And in addition to that text change, we also made a revision to the future land use map, which is shown on the screens. All of the multiple family designation is indicated by the orange color. The crosshatched area is now being designated as medium density, and the area without crosshatching is now designated as high density. So we rather than one multiple family future land use category, we now have two with specific density requirements, maximum density requirements for each category. And the fifth major revision was to update the recreation and open space element to better identify recreation and conservation parcels in the town. And I have this on page 73. I hope that's the same page that you all have. So we added the
71.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a table.
Looking at the hard copy, it's 7-2.
Yeah,
7-3.
That's page 69.
The map 7-3.
Map 7-3.
Table number 5. And we've
That's
added,
page 69.
we've added a list of all of the conservation and recreation parcels in the town in that table, which that table has not been in the plan up to this point. And I assume it's on the next page, which is a map, which shows where all of those parcels are. And as I said, it includes conservation parcels and recreation parcels. So those were the 5 major revisions that we made to the plan. And in addition to those 5 major revisions, there are numerous text-based amendments based on our meetings with staff, the engineering consultant, and the planning and zoning board. I won't go over all of those changes because as you can see, going through the document, there's a lot of underlined and strike through, but I would like to mention 4 changes that we did make. We updated the recent traffic count data by revising table 2 of the agenda using information provided by the Florida Department of Transportation. And the next item was we updated population, housing, and household and income data, which is table 3, based upon the 2020 census and recent updates. The demographic data that's in the current plan is from either 2020 or 2010. So the information that we changed it to is now current. And item number 3 is we updated table 4 of the infrastructure element, projecting infrastructure needs. That's water projections, sewer projections, and whether or not the town's roads are going to maintain this traffic level service standards. And then finally, under this section, we updated the FEMA flood map to insert the most current version. I have that on page 86, but I guess that's not right. But that is the current FEMA map, which was just updated very recently. And finally, there's a few amendments to the goals, objectives, and policies that I just wanted to highlight. In the future land use element, we deleted objective number 5, which is a reference to the to historical sites, historically designated sites in town. According to staff, the town doesn't have any historically designated sites, so we deleted that objective. And in the housing element, we added, and I understand this is a potentially controversial one, objective 1.3 in the housing element, and we added modular housing as a housing alternative that could be permitted in the town.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
You struck manufactured and you put in modular, but by definition here, that doesn't seem to be a problem whatsoever. While modular homes are permanently attached to a foundation, manufactured homes can be uprooted and moved again. So basically what you're saying is no trailers.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's no big, yeah.
Yeah, and I did hand the clerk some photographs, if you could just put up that one page. I know there's a lot of misunderstanding of the difference between modular and manufactured homes. Manufactured homes are essentially mobile homes, okay? Modular homes are, the components are built in factories and then transported onto a site and assembled on the site. That they have to meet the Florida building code, including the wind velocity standards. And I have, can we bring that up?
I can pass this.
Yeah,
We've got it.
I think if you can see.
Modular homes are like real houses.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
If you want to see an example, if people are curious, because people were nervous about this word manufactured versus modular.
Yeah.
At the end of the Osprey Court cul-de-sac, that
There it is.
huge white, now it's red, maybe tan. That was a modular home built 15, 20 years ago, and they brought in like walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could never tell looking at it that it's modular today. You would never know.
Right. That, what's on the screen is the 5 most popular modular homes of a particular builder. And you can see it, especially the one on the bottom of the page. I mean that is really difficult to discern between that and a conventionally constructed home. So
Can I ask you a question, please? So, modular homes, I did my own research too, and I've toured those facilities before where they make them, and they're very well built in many cases. But they would be subject to the same development review that any new construction would be, correct?
yes. Yeah. And as I said, they have to, the components that are constructed in the factory, for example, a wall that had either plumbing or electric in it that the building inspector could not inspect here, is certified by a licensed building inspector in the factory that it does meet the full Florida building code. And then it also would be reviewed by the town's building inspector to make sure that any of the components of the house that he can inspect meet the building code here. So it's the primary reason why we added that is the Florida statutes strongly encourages that all municipalities include policies in their housing element that lead to reduced housing costs. Okay, modular homes. I also do some work in Loxahatchee Groves. One of the property owners got a quote to build a house on his property at $350 a square foot. He went to a modular home developer and the price was $200 a square foot. So you can see that you can still get a very attractive home that meets the building codes for a much lower price than conventional construction. And that's, like I said, the primary reason we put it in there is because the state strongly encourages that we have something in our housing element to help reduce housing costs.
But that's not required.
It is not, it's not required if you have a strong feeling against including modular homes in here, we can take it out.
Less noise to the neighbors.
Yeah.
The house is built offsite.
Sure.
I don't know about that, Steve. I'm not really sold on a modular home, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to the commission. I mean, if the commission doesn't want it in there, we can certainly take it out.
I've seen them in other parts of the country, and it's a very popular way to construct homes.
Yes.
And it would still have to go
It
through
still has
the
to meet
planning
all-
and zoning
planning and zoning,
process.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think as long as it has to meet planning and zoning, I can support it.
It's not like
I
they
can
can.
tell you that having, being on the regional planning council, and they review these all the time, and having reviewed Gulfstream's, similar, comp plan amendment, they did not have any of this language, but they did include a, provision for encouraging development of auxiliary dwelling units on a principal property. So in other words, allowing an accessory structure to provide affordable housing. So that's another alternative. I think the modular housing is probably a good one.
Okay, the other item in the housing element is objective 1.4, where we talk about community residential homes. That community residential homes in all residential districts in the state of Florida are permitted by Florida statutes, chapter 419. And
Where are you now?
objective 1.4 in the housing element.
28, page 28 of 141.
And that community residential home is essentially a residential structure where they can be occupied by up to six residents licensed by state agencies such as the Department of Children and Families and Aging and Adult Services. That's another option that, number one, is required by state law, and it is another way to provide some more affordable housing for facilities that are licensed by the state.
Would that include rehab houses?
We have public comment in a second. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, it can. If it gets a license from one of the state agencies that licenses these kinds of facilities, it could go into town, yes. And there are some requirements that it has to meet. Number one, it's got to do a study to show that there's no other similar facilities within 1,000-foot radius, and it also has to qualify to meet the standards and care services of the facility itself, and also the administrator and staff personnel of the facility. So there's really not too much that the town can do about this one. I mean, I have worked in other jurisdictions where they've stricken mention of community residential homes in the comprehensive plan, but that doesn't relieve communities from complying with the state law if someone decides to pursue it.
All right.
And then the last one is objective 1.5 in the housing element, and we just deleted that as well. That deals with historical structures and facilities. And lastly, the coastal management element. I know that that's an element of considerable interest here in the town. And we did get into a lot of detail on this. The objective 2.2 deals essentially with directing the town to continue to participate with local, regional, and federal agencies in disaster preparedness and post-disaster planning programs. Like I said, we didn't get into too much detail on this, but I would like to mention, Corey mentioned that if the commission decides to approve this on first reading, we need to send the document to a multitude of local and state agencies for their comments, and one of which is Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. And I think that they most certainly will have some suggestions which we can incorporate in between first and second reading. At this point, the language in the coastal element really is oriented to making sure that the town continues to participate and coordinate. If Treasure Coast has some more specific recommendations, we can consider those prior to second reading. And that concludes my presentation. I'm opening it up to questions and comments.
Public comment. We do public comment first?
Okay, sure.
Come on, Christine.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Get out of my mouth.
I know.
Sometimes you think things in. I would be very, very conscientious on adding the 1.4 housing element. For obvious reasons, first and foremost, it's in conflict with some of our existing code. And I understand it's a state requirement, but I just heard potentially that you can strike the mention in your comprehensive plan. It doesn't nullify the element, and it doesn't mean that somebody can't challenge it, but why would you publicize it as part of your comprehensive plan? I think it's a really sticky road. We've had a lot of discussion over years about it. We've been pretty good about dodging the bullet on it, but I would never state this is what the town of Ocean Ridge accepts, so.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Carol Bessler, 5906 Old Ocean. I was just wondering if there was any way to maybe circumvent the element we have to put in there, which could bring in family licensed daycare centers, elder care centers, anything that's licensed in our codes that prevents businesses from being in residential areas. If there was any wiggle room in there that we could keep in concert with the law, but because we have other codes set up for businesses in town, could we kind of circumvent that? Thank you.
Well, I don't think there's any way that you can necessarily circumvent it. If a property owner comes in with a complete application and goes through the selection and approval process of a state agency that licenses these facilities, it would be very difficult for the town to prohibit it. Although, I think Christie would agree with me on this, that it would have to go through like a kind of a site plan review, and you can add conditions of approval related to site planning. But in terms of prohibiting the use itself, I'm not sure that that's possible.
Christie?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I agree. The problem you have with this is you can take it out of your comprehensive plan, but as Jim has said, it's still a requirement by state statute. So if someone came in to utilize a single-family home for community residence of 6 or fewer residents for one of these authorized state agency, it's a pretty straightforward process that they're granted that sort of zoning approval because it's mandated by statute. Oftentimes in other cities, you see that if there's an issue with their zoning code or even their building code, in addition to requesting approval, they will ask for reasonable accommodations under the ADA. And then you really are kind of stuck with, following through and giving them what they want based on the requirements set forth in state statute. So you can take it out of your comp plan, you can have nothing in your code addressing it, but if someone requests it, you gotta follow state statute. It is what it is.
Yeah, but even so, if you don't have it there, you don't have it there.
Yeah, agree.
I mean,
It
So you
doesn't
can
bring
take it
up the
out,
thought.
but it doesn't, nullify the mandate from state statute.
no, it doesn't advertise it either in a comp plan.
Agreed.
Is it better to say, yeah, we'll do it, but it has to be specifically in compliance with our own specific development standards and all that? Does that help us? If we don't say anything, is it possible that we could be held to a lower standard?
We would be held to the state standard if for some reason there's a state standard that's not addressed, our code would address it. So as long as our code's not in conflict with the state standards, our code would apply.
But if our code is more restrictive, but not going against state statute, wouldn't we be better off to say specifically, look, we'll do what the state says we have to do, but where possible, we're gonna live by our code requirements?
Yeah, that's where you get into, it kind of is dependent on the actual application that comes in and what they're looking to do and where they're looking to do it to decide which one is more stricter. And then you have to make.
I'm trying to keep it out of some judge deciding what kind of house you can build here. As opposed to us saying, look, we're gonna follow the law, but we have very specific standards here. So wherever possible, our standards will be followed. If you don't have anything, then some judge could just say, why don't you know what you're gonna do?
Well, we do.
We already do
We
have-
do have plenty of
Yes.
development standards.
I know, but if we don't have it in our,
No.
Well,
if we don't
no,
address it in the
different.
plan.
Yeah, it's
Well,
they're
the
talking
way
about,
it's stressed in the comp plan is to recognize that they're authorized by state statute. It doesn't get any detail. Your development regulations will cover how they could actually develop one of these in town, or utilize an existing residence for such a use. Then you're gonna get in, like I said, reviewing what they particularly wanna do against our current development code. And that's what it comes down to. Now, if they ask for a reasonable accommodation on top of that, which is contrary to our code, then that falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and you may have to grant them a reasonable accommodation.
We're just trying to figure out if it's better to be silent, or if it's better to actually try to pin it down as much as we can in our favor.
My recommendation would be, if you want to, keep it silent and just don't address it in your comp plan.
that's what we're
Exactly
looking
right.
for.
So we'd like, Dave, Carolyn?
Carolyn?
What?
Did you hear that?
I do have a question.
I agree, less is more in this case.
I think less is enough.
Less is more, yeah.
But if we find something in the comp plan that's just not working at all 2 years from now, we're able to change that, are we not?
Oh, yes, you can.
Anytime we want.
You can amend the comprehensive plan wherever.
Because
whenever Tom wants.
if we ignore something and then somebody's dead set into doing it, and then we get attorneys involved, now we're starting to have more problems. So, okay.
So I think you hear the consensus is that please remove it from our comp plan.
Sure.
Any other public comment? Before we close?
Terry Brown.
Hold on, Terry's up.
I have some too, but we're still doing public.
Yeah. We'll finish the public real quick. Carolyn, and we'll move on to Commissioner.
I was just going to comment on that section of town, which people have a lot of pet names for the area south of Tropical to the end of town, Ocean View, Douglas. And you have it listed as medium density, which is regulated by a certain number of units per acre. And then you have high density, which also has a higher number of units, and that's mostly further north. But is there not something in between so that some of that property can get redeveloped with additional height, not doing anything more than your 3 levels, your garage and your 2 upper levels, right? It's a 2-story limit.
36 feet.
Yeah, the area that I'm talking about is mostly along A1A. Do you always want that to look like that? Do you not want some improvement? So I'm not suggesting that you go to high density in that area, but looking at the future map, land use map, to see if you can get something else in between. I don't know where that definition comes from. Does it come from Florida statute? The 5 units per acre, or that's just in our code?
Yes.
Is that correct? So we can,
We can
that can be changed.
We can decide whatever we want.
You know what I'm trying to get at? Because
Well, we did that to that whole area with the overlay when we did the overlay on that area for a building.
yeah, but you're still restricting what can be done there. And some of those places are pretty old. They're all on septic tank. And they can't really do much with them except paint them and fix them up and put new windows and doors in them. I'm not suggesting you do anything radical. I'm just suggesting that it needs to be looked at and what we can do for the town to make it look a little bit better and be a little better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment?
I'll go quick, I swear. Janet Shines, 120 Dalton. With all due respect to everybody's expertise up here, I think some of the issues, particularly the one about the group housing, would really benefit from hiring a specialist to come in and advise us. I don't think we should make a quick decision on whether to not have it in the agreement or have it in the agreement without some really specialized counsel on it. We've seen what's happened at Delray. Delray is the drug rehab capital of the world. I would prefer Ocean Ridge not be the new one. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving back to the commission. Commissioners?
I wanted to ask our consultants, this is my first time through the comprehensive planning process. So when I had my meeting with staff, I said, I've been on this commission for 13 months and I don't remember a single time when we were making a single decision where we said, gee, what does the comprehensive plan say about this? So we're a smaller town. So in your experience, are these plans set up rather, it feels like they're not set up so much to drive behavior or drive our actions, but rather more reflect the actions that we decide to take? Or are you seeing it used in a different way by some towns?
Well, I mean, it's supposed to essentially do both, in my mind. I mean, whenever in other jurisdictions that I work in, if a site plan application comes through, or a rezoning application comes through, or variance, any of those applications, you usually look at the comprehensive plan to see if what they're proposing is consistent with the direction that the comprehensive plan is providing.
Dave, you were on the planning commission. How often did you guys go back and look at the comprehensive plan? Did you go to it a lot?
I don't remember ever going back to it.
So see, what I'm saying is, we're doing this whole process that we update, and it goes to 5 different parts of the state, and everybody looks at it. And near as I can tell, we don't really use it for anything. And if we decide to do something different than this, we just go do it. And everybody, including our attorney, says we can do that. And then we could just change the comprehensive plan. There's no disrespect meant to the process. I just want to understand the process. I'm used to having a plan where it's at true north, and then we kind of go back and look at
It's mandated.
Yeah, yeah, well, it's.
it. I know we have to do it, I'm not questioning that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, I think Ocean Ridge is a little different than a lot of jurisdictions. A lot of jurisdictions that have vacant land, or there's a lot of interest in redevelopment, or converting residential to commercial, things like that, where the comprehensive plan
Guides there.
is a tool that's used more often than it is here, because the zoning and the comprehensive plan, zoning map, comprehensive plan map are essentially one and the same with the change we've made.
Okay.
And I mean, it is something, it is a tool that you can look at when you have these various applications, or there's another real use for it too. If the town is going to be applying for any grant, for example, virtually every state, federal agency that reviews grant applications says, is this directed by your comprehensive plan? Is this in your comprehensive plan that you want to do this?
I'm not in any way suggesting we don't need this, or that it's not a good thing to have. I'm just trying to understand, it doesn't feel like this drives our behavior. It feels like we adjust this to reflect what we want to do, which is great, but that's just a different way of using a plan than I've used a plan in the past, which is fine. When we went through our budget process last year, deciding how to spend millions of dollars, I don't remember one time where we said, hey, what does the comprehensive plan say about this? We did what we thought made sense for the good of the residents, and that met all of the codes and everything. But we never went back and looked at this. Maybe we should have, but we,
Yeah, I think a lot of that is how your code is written, that whether or not you're directed to do it. I mean, I can see in a small community like this that
maybe it just doesn't make sense.
it sort of gets lost when you're looking at issues. If it says in your code, in order to approve this, you have to find it consistent with your comprehensive plan. Then you have the direction.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't mean to take us off topic.
That's
I just
okay.
wanted to understand.
Carolyn, you got something?
Yeah, please. Okay, so first of all, with regard to the comprehensive plan and its importance, it is kind of like an insurance policy, and it is two of the most important responsibilities we have as a commission are the comprehensive plan and the budget. That's for one. I had asked to be included in these staff meetings discussing the comprehensive plan amendment back last year, and that didn't happen. So that is why I went to the committee so to listen to how this was getting put together. I do have a number of questions for Corey and Tim. The first is I'm going to refer to the page numbers, because not the page numbers, but the section numbers, where it says like 1-5 at the bottom, because that's what I have in front of me. Where you talk in the land use element, where you're talking about the different, we got to this separation of the multifamily, high density and medium density. Do we need to separate out RSE from single family? Or do you think, and if you think not, just tell me why. I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Cassidy, this is Christie. So we separated out the multifamily because in the land development regulations, multifamily, medium and high density is separated by a unit count. So we are now going to reflect that in the comprehensive plan. For residential single family, there's still one unit or a duplex that's allowed in the code, but there's no further separation. It's more specific as to the development regulations in terms of lot size and things like that, which we know we have some inconsistency with. So it gets much messier with the single family to separate out in the comp plan.
Okay, that's great, thank you. On 3-3, page number at the bottom, where you talk about household income versus family income, what's the difference between that, household and family? You compare Ocean Ridge to the county, and I just didn't know what the distinction was.
What's the difference between a household and a family?
Yeah, household income versus family income.
Okay, well, a family, in terms of the census, is generally related individuals. Household does not have to be related, and also can include one person.
Okay. All right, thank you. I had a similar concern that we were talking about before with modular, like that word just like jumped out at me. That we went from manufactured to modular, why do we need to use either? But I think we kind of have a consensus on that now. But you had mentioned that in a staff meeting, you decided to remove the historical designation on page 3-5. Why remove it? Why are we removing that ability to declare something of historical significance? I don't understand why we would remove it. I can't understand what's wrong with having it there.
Well, it's whatever the commission wants. I mean, staff was uncomfortable with that being in there because of the fact that there are no currently designated structures in the town. And also, once a structure is designated as an historical structure or place, it becomes very difficult and costly to make any changes or revisions to it. If you want to have some sort of a local historical designation section in your code, there are jurisdictions that do that. But as far as we know, there's no structures on the.
This was just for National Register ones.
Yes.
We know whether we have any of those.
We don't have any historic.
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
The only historic thing we have is Betty Bingham.
The McGinty House. And then the place on Ocean Road, built in 1924.
Is it on the National Register?
Your house could be a historical, even archaeological site. Yeah.
Commissioner Cassidy, I believe the situation was we did not have any currently designated National Historic Register locations, and that allowing this to remain prohibits and strongly limits any kind of repairs, replacements, renovations of existing properties in the town of Ocean Ridge. If we have a local historic designation and there are properties and structures within Ocean Ridge that we want to declare as local historic locations, they are not required then to follow the same redevelopment criteria that something on the National Historic Registry does, which will generally double or triple the cost of even bringing it up to current code.
Actually, the way it works in Palm Beach, because they do have the, landmark designation status. And what's designated as a landmark home does not have to comply with the FEMA standards.
That is a landmark designation versus being a National Historic Registry. On the National Historic Registry, they have to, if they put in windows, they have to be windows that are designed exactly like from that period. Doorways, all of the construction renovation materials have to be meeting the standards that were in place and the same look and effect from the time that the house was built. So there's a very big difference between a landmark designation in a community and a National Historic Registration.
Okay, all right, understood. Okay, page 4.3, where we're talking about One Beach water contract. To my former questions, it says here, the The agreement was signed in 1990 for a 30-year timeframe. The agreement will continue until it is terminated by either party. And this is what we've had lengthy conversations about. And I believe Christie has said that it has to be agreed by both parties to terminate it. But this says something entirely different.
Yeah, Christie, you said it, we both have to agree to terminate it.
That needs to be corrected. It
Yeah.
does need to be either
That would
party.
control, not this, right?
By both parties, right?
Yes.
Okay. You'll take care of that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a good catch.
And I'm just curious why you've gone from actual use of water per person to 175 gallons a day. It's gone in the prior comp plan, at one point it says 189, another one it says 200. Where'd you arrive at 175?
Because in the current comprehensive plan, I believe that it said that by 2013, it shall be reduced to 175.
Who's measuring that? Like, how do we know?
Well,
I guess Boynton knows, right?
it's probably regulated by the conditions in your agreement with Boynton Beach.
I'm just asking the question, like, what data supports that? It just seems arbitrarily reduced to 175 based on like a wish, or do we have data points? Do we know?
Like I said, it's in your comprehensive plan now that it shall be reduced to 175 by 2013. Now, to give a better answer, I think that what your question is Boynton Beach is in the process right now of updating its water supply plan based on the water supply plan that the Water Management District completed last year. Boynton Beach is going to have to come up with its per capita consumption rates, which will apply throughout its jurisdiction, unless it has some sort of a special allocation for the town. So
Would it only matter to us if we were worried, for instance, Boynton's taking on Gulfstream? And if we thought they didn't have enough water to give Gulfstream plus us, then we would be worried about our
Gulfstream has
contract.
a much higher number, just so you know. I just I would love to know how much is being consumed per capita now. That shouldn't be that hard to figure out, right?
I'm sure Boynton knows.
Are we setting an unrealistic goal? I don't know.
Charging us. They're charging people.
Well, we did, I did try to contact Boynton Beach to see if I could get some more specific information, and had no luck. But like I said.
By the way, I didn't read this as goals. I read this as a projection. Like, the population is not a goal. It's a projection as to what we think is going to happen with the population.
Right. But like I said, Boynton Beach has to come up with standards in its water supply plan, and we are subject to the Boynton Beach's water supply plan. That's why we were able to eliminate 45 pages in this document.
All right.
Okay, all right. My next question, so that's just still unresolved, but the next page, 4.5, drainage analysis. A resident reached out and asked a question that we are maintaining stormwater retention level of service standard for new development and major redevelopment, which requires retainment of the first 1 inch of runoff on the development site per hour. Should that not be changed? I mean, last year the legislature passed major stormwater legislation, which was the first time in 50 years dealing with stormwater, and I think this warrants another a closer look.
Well, we had the town's engineer look at this. Well, we prepared it, and there was no comment there.
Okay.
That doesn't really answer my
Page
question.
52.
Well, I think if it should be changed, I think that she would have recommended that.
Corey, would you look in to ask the town engineer exactly what she came up with that, please?
Yeah.
What else you got, Carolyn?
Okay, we continue to participate in the preparation of the water supply facilities work plan. But that's not it's not in the comp plan. Water supply facilities work plan. Policy 1.3.3, it's on page 4-8. The town shall continue to participate in the preparation of the water supply facilities work plan by the city of Boynton Beach, and you crossed out attached, but it's not referred to anywhere in here.
Well, because it's not attached anymore.
But what is it?
It is a plan that Boynton Beach is responsible for developing for their community, and we work with them on it, but we did not put their water supply plan in our comp plan because it is not Ocean Ridges. We refer back to it just as this, we're referring back to the water supply facilities work plan by the city of Boynton Beach. But it is redundant for us to put Boynton's work plan in our comprehensive plan.
But if we're tied to it, wouldn't we rather have it attached, and that's what we're talking about at this point in time? If it changes, it's not what is in our comp plan. I mean, it's just like an arbitrary plan that could change to anything, and we're at the mercy of that.
I think it just says we're continuing to participate in the preparation of it. I believe Boynton is required because they're providing water to other communities, that they have to show that they can actually generate enough water to meet the demands of the people they've signed up. So I think this just says we'll continue to participate. Yeah, we as a customer.
We're the customer.
Right. Plus the fact that the water supply plan that is currently in our plan is totally outdated. They're updating it right now. So if you decide that you want to attach that when it is finished, you certainly can do it.
All right, Carolyn.
Okay, on page 5.1, you eliminated policy 1.2.3. The town shall continue to investigate the necessity and feasibility of a public sewer line. Why take that out?
Which one was that again, please?
1.2.3 on 5.1.
Page 57.
Page 5-1.
Ours says page 57, but I don't know if that's what yours says.
Yeah. It says page 5.1 at the bottom.
Yeah. That was a recommendation of either the staff or the engineer. That's not something that Corey and I came up with.
It was suggested to be eliminated as the commission has in recent discussions about whether to do the septic to sewer conversion, that the commission has not made that a priority. And therefore having an ongoing investigation is not necessary at this time in our comp plan.
So,
No, but it's something that, by saying it to continue its investigation, I mean, the next time we're gonna look at this document is in what, 7 years?
No, you can look at it.
You can look at it anytime you want.
nothing in here prevents us from reactivating if we get mandated by the state.
Right.
So it's a non-point, Carol.
I disagree.
Okay.
Okay, page 5-2. Development of applications for oceanfront properties shall provide a vegetative analysis. What is that? That's not defined anywhere.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, that's defined in the land development code. It's language that's consistent with the land development code.
Did you hear that, Carolyn?
Okay, so people who are submitting plans know what that means.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then on 5.2 down at the bottom, you talk about the coastal construction control line illustrated on map 6. but there are two coastal construction control lines on that map. There's one from 79 and the one from 97, so you don't specify which one you're talking about.
Those are specifically defined in the code also. The one that's closest to the ocean, you have to have state approval to do something in. The one that's a little bit farther inland is a list of some very minor uses that the town can.
So it depends on what the use is as to which map,
Exactly.
which line.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're at.
That's interesting. Gotcha.
So you didn't feel there was a need to define that there?
It is defined, I guess.
Well, no, it's not.
I mean, it's not defined in this document, but I guess it's a known.
No, it's not defined in this document, which is where things get obscure, right? On page 7-1, recreation open space element, there's a lot of confusing language in here. First of all, when you say the vast majority of the public lands are owned by other governmental entities, I'd like to take out the vast majority of this and just say the public lands are owned by Ocean Ridge, Palm Beach County, and the city of Boynton Beach.
Wasn't that the same thing?
It's the first paragraph, where it says, first paragraph, second line.
Vast majority.
The vast majority of the public lands are owned by other governmental entities, specifically Palm Beach County and the city of Boynton Beach. That refers to the recreation public lands, because you've
And
got,
passive open space, that's. So that includes, like, we purchased the Priest property, we purchased the Eater property, like, it's more significant than it was 7 years ago.
So you wanted to say the town of Ocean Ridge?
she wants,
I wanted to take out the vast majority of this public lands are owned by other governmental entities, they're not. Just say the public lands are owned by Ocean Ridge, Palm Beach County, and the city of Boynton Beach.
Does this include the beach? The state owns that, right?
owns which?
The beach below the high water?
Yeah, this doesn't include that.
Doesn't.
No.
This is,
That would indicate
I
that.
thought when I looked at that, it was the vast majority.
Toward the bottom of that page where we're talking about the 10 public access points, and the public streets, including Sailfish Lane, that's not true, because the Sailfish Lane residents have their own private beach access. The Diamond Beach access is the public access.
That's true. Sailfish Lane ends near Diamond Beach, but Sailfish has cut their own path.
It's private like Hersey.
Okay, so Sailfish Lane should be stricken and
Yes.
replaced by
Diamond Beach.
Diamond
Diamond
Beach?
Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm almost done.
Well, wait a minute, you might have to change a little further than that, because it says at the end of public
It
streets.
is at the end of the public street.
What?
It is at the end of the public street,
Diamond Beach?
because it comes right to the old ocean.
Yeah, but it's the walk,
Pathway
the press goes from Old Ocean over.
Sailfish Lane,
There's no
private
end of
access.
public street. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? This
Just
other
gotta
ones
tweak it,
go,
yeah. Just
go
gotta
straight, right? Diamond Beach is an entity unto itself
We
that
don't
has
have
a
to wordsmith
crossover
this
that
here,
happens
do
to
we?
be public.
Can't they just wordsmith it? We don't have to sit here and wordsmith it amongst
Well,
us, do we?
hopefully they'll take it, because this is first reading.
Well, you know what, if you put Fayette Drive in there, that would be a problem, correct?
Okay, so we're not.
It's not Sailfish Lane.
So we can say the 7 points located along Old Ocean, including, because they are all,
That's probably more accurate, yeah.
To Anna's point, maybe, Glenn, you could work that out with Corey and Company.
Yeah.
You guys could just make the words.
Yep.
It is.
Will that affect first reading, second reading, Chrissy?
And I would just ask to take a look at this language in here, because it's just confusing where you're talking about the park and the passive parks and, having just acquired and, changed conservation status for the Priest property, now we have the Eater properties. I don't think the language is all consistent with that.
Well, until we amend the zoning and the comp plan for the Eater property, which the zoning has to be done first, I believe. No, because we talked about whether we could include those in this first reading or not.
Well, here's the North Ocean Ridge Mangrove Natural Area, which is within a town-owned 12.1 acre parcel. North of the Ocean Avenue Bridge consists of 5 acres, and it talks about the walkway, the nature trail, 2-story observation tower. That's south of Ocean Avenue. That's on Corinne. So the description's incorrect.
You guys see that?
I don't know where
You see, it says North Ocean Ridge Mangrove Natural Area,
Yeah, that's existing language.
located north of, it's actually south of Ocean Ave.
So we changed south, right?
Yeah, we will correct that to south because the existing language had it as north.
But wait a minute, doesn't the next sentence say located just south of the Ocean Avenue Bridge?
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's
Yeah, we'll make
it's
those
a one word north
Okay.
that needs to be
Yeah,
changed.
it needs to be fixed, that's all.
Yep.
And then my last comment, I promise, page 9-1, Ocean Ridge is a beach-oriented town characterized primarily by single-family homes. No, homes is crossed out. Single-family subdivisions with lush, well-maintained landscaping and extensive outdoor recreational opportunities. Why did we take out homes and put subdivisions?
I believe we took it out because there are single-family condos that are not homes. So that takes into effect the multifamily communities being single-family units as opposed to just single-family homes, because we have multiple multifamilies that are considered single-family units.
You're grouping every single-family home and neighborhood into subdivision. I don't think that.
Yeah, I don't, like, my house isn't in a subdivision.
Would you prefer something like single-family neighborhoods?
I guess so, that's just more, yeah.
That'll work.
Well, of the 1,745 parcels, I think over 70% are single-family homes. So she has a point.
Not in subdivisions. There's some of them that are in subdivisions, but most of them are just single.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's why I take out, put single-family homes.
They're just in neighborhoods.
So do we want to say neighborhoods or go back to home?
Let's say neighborhoods.
You can
All
say
in agreement?
residence. Residence just means the place where someone lives.
No, but later they talk about.
We should have just left homes. How about we go back to homes? Are we all happy with the homes? We all happy with homes? All right, so that's it, Carolyn?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
Want to keep homes?
All right. I guess we need a motion.
Go for it, Carol. For that, what is it, ordinance?
This is the first reading of ordinance.
Wow.
What is that?
Feedback, we had too many mics on.
We need to read it into the record first.
You need to read.
Go ahead and read it in the record.
Yeah, no, just this
No.
first graph.
Ordinance 2025-01, an ordinance of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan of the Town of Ocean Ridge with the 2025 evaluation and appraisal review, EAR-based amendments providing for recitals, adoption, conflicts, repeal, severability, applicability, transmittal, and an effective date.
Quick question, Christie, can we just make a motion straight, or do we have to say with amended as discussed?
It's easier so that we can go ahead and make the changes so that when they transmit it to the state, we tweak some more.
What should I say, with, as we.
Yes, yes.
So make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2025-01 as we have amended it this evening.
Second. Motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're down to the regular agenda items. Discussion regarding obtaining easements for storm drains.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ocean Ridge has been for several years trying to upgrade and make improvements to the stormwater drainage system. And this
Thank you, Corey. Sorry.
That's all right. This has included obtaining easements and working with property owners to construct new drainage outfalls. The location of the new projects is determined by an MS4 permit that was granted by the Department of Environment. Over the last 2 years, we've reached out to property owners to obtain easements to construct these projects. And in some cases, the property owners have not been willing to work with the town with the specific standard language of that easement. Staff is requesting that the commission create a formal policy of what our authorities are that we can negotiate when it comes to an easement. Are there areas that we can negotiate so that we can bring someone to the table? Right now, the standard easement language says that if we are doing the construction of an easement, doing maintenance or repair on it, if the easement has a fence, a hedge line, or other structures on it, we will remove them, but the property owner is responsible for replacing and rebuilding after we're done with the project. There has been suggestions that if the town were to pay for the replanting of hedges, rebuilding of walls, that type of thing, individuals may be more willing to give us easements that we need for our drainage. But without a policy designed by the commission that says, yes, we have that authority to negotiate that on an easement, which is then brought to the commission for approval, my hands are tied and Christie's hands are tied. So we need some direction on what kind of leeway the commission is willing to give us as policy in negotiating these drainage easements.
Well, how about we let the town manager negotiate the deal and then bring it back to the commission for approval?
And that's great. If you're not saying that we have to stick with the standard easement language, that's wonderful.
Because how many easements do we actually have to go through? Right.
3 when we get done with him.
I feel rather strongly about this because I've got extensive palms planted along the pipe that I've maintained since I moved into the house. And I would suggest that if the town wants to get an easement from me, if they're gonna have to move everything, they move it and they replace it at the town expense, because this is not being done for me, it's being done for a larger group.
Which I think is exactly what Lynn's asking.
Right,
Commissioner to do.
Well, with respect, probably, Dave, you shouldn't be, you should recuse yourself from this discussion, probably.
We can discuss.
Well, no,
it,
because.
Yeah, well, I can speak my opinion, right? I'm not saying this is not a blackmail job.
I think we all agree with your point of view. I'm just saying
Thank you.
it's probably better if we, come to the.
Well, how about, let's ask Christie, should I take myself out of this?
Mr. Mayor, I'm not aware of a current need for Commissioner Hutchins' private pipe. I'm only privy to conversations regarding the easements we've discussed in-house.
Right, I mean, right now, there's 2 easements, 2.
That's all we saw, yeah.
Lynn told us 4.
There's actually 4.
We only talked about 2 in my meeting.
There's 2 on Harbor Drive. There are others on, there are 2 on Harbor Drive North that we need. There are easements that we need along Marlin, potentially some easements, and permission along Bimini Cove for additional work there in terms of drainage. So right now, we have not been successful with the standard language. If we have the ability to negotiate by offering town resources to restore it if necessary, or whatever other hopefully simple negotiation we can
Maybe
come
I'm
up
missing
with.
something, but as a town manager, that would be something I would presume that would already be done, and negotiate a deal with the homeowner. Hey, see, we need these two town easements. And well, this is what I want. Okay, give me everything you want. And then we bring it back to the commission, and at the commission meeting say, hey, this is, in order to get these easements, this is what this homeowner wants. And let the commission decide whether, that's a good deal or not.
And
So what
in
more
my meeting, she needs
authority
us
do
to
we
say
need?
she can do that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I need
currently,
to-
she's not allowed to do
I'm
So
not
you're
allowed
allowed
to
to
do that
do it.
until you guys set a policy that says that I can.
All right, Chrissy, so we need to actually put a one sentence policy together that says the town manager is able to negotiate an easement agreement as long as it's okayed by the town commission.
As long as she has direction as to her authority to expend public funds on private property, and she understands perhaps by consensus tonight that you're giving her the ability to negotiate.
Okay, so you can go back, get us a policy and bring it back in April?
Subject to our approval, yeah.
Subject to our approval. Is that it?
That's it.
Any public comment?
Just one question on it. She can start negotiating now. She doesn't have to wait for the policy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, just start negotiating. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Resolution number 2025-05, approval of replat of McCormick Mile replat number 1 for 7, 8, and 9 Sable Island Drive. We should have pushed to the very beginning, Ken. That way you wouldn't have to sit there all day.
I'm enjoying it so much.
Christie?
He's on the meter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just a replat on Sable Island, taking 3 individual lots to 2 lots for purposes of redevelopment. It has been reviewed by the town engineer, planning and zoning commission reviewed it, recommending unanimously approval. Based on our review, it meets all the code requirements and Florida statute requirements and recommendations for approval.
All right. Any public comment?
Christine DeHassett, Sable Island, Bravo. Moving in the right direction always to take 3 and make it into 2. We're thrilled.
All right. Bring it back to commission. Any other discussion?
Nope.
Let's make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, staff and committee reports, town manager.
My report is in the packet. Everybody is welcome to read it. A couple of things I do want to bring to the forefront. In February, the town staff sat down with the FP&L and they informed us that they are, based on their metrics, beginning what is a multi-year project to begin undergrounding electric infrastructure on the north end of town. They will sometime in 2025 be sending their contractors from Pike Bowman to knock on doors in that area. The area that is included, about the slide, I forgot to give it to Debbie. Here. Includes the 2 northern islands and a portion of North Ocean Boulevard. That is just the first stage. The benefits to this is Ocean Ridge has taken their time. We have not been in a rush to underground the infrastructure ourselves. Our neighboring communities and most of the other barrier islands in Palm Beach County have paid to underground their infrastructure because we waited till we risen to the top for FPNL. They will pay the full cost for the undergrounding. So there will be no cost for the conversion to underground utility for the residents of Ocean Ridge, other than what you see in their planned rate hikes over the next several years.
That's good news.
Yeah.
By the way, they're not slighting the south end of town by starting in.
I was gonna say, you took the
Yeah.
words right out of my mouth. How come it went north
Because
first?
FPL, believe it or not.
I think Ken Khalil had
statistics-
something to do with that.
Statistics of outages favor starting in the north end of town. You guys have more power outages than we do down in the south. That's why they
FPNL
start.
has specific metrics that
It's true.
have to be hit before an area is brought to the priority list for undergrounding. And at this time, that north end of town has hit that priority list. That doesn't mean that consecutively the other areas of town will be undergrounded if we want to continue to allow us to wait until FPNL wants to pay the cost. But as they have started on the island, it will most likely be the entire town within the next 10 years fully underground for electric.
So we're all coming to you guys' houses during the hurricanes.
Public comment.
I can't sit there.
He's gonna deny it all.
Ken Khalil, 86 Island Drive South. That's not true. We knew about this some time ago, and we investigated the underground utilities. And at the time, the technology was such that if we went to underground utilities, that FPNL told us that it would be harder to get the power back on because of the locations in town. And this happened in the early 2000s when we lost power. And some of you were here for the hurricanes that we had multiple, many of them actually, for a while. And our power went back on relatively quick compared to those communities that had underground utilities.
They
And the
couldn't figure out
reason
where the
for
fault
that
was, right.
is they couldn't find out where the break point was. So we looked at all this, so that's not true. And we also determined that the cost of doing so at the time was astronomical. And we were told, even by our experts at that time, to hold off. So for a multiple amount of reasons that this has happened, but the technology that FPL has developed since that time has been better to find the breaks, to find where it's located, and the whole piping structure has been better. So it's not like we didn't do it. We actually looked into it very deeply.
Right, but
at that
FPL's
time.
paying, that's the.
But
whole
now they're
reason.
paying for it, which is what we hoped for
And they can
at that
figure
time.
out, they can figure out.
Thank you, Ken. Anything else, Lynn?
Nothing else.
Thank
Can I
you.
make a quick comment, please, sir? Since we're talking about FPL, the other night, Lucy and I were coming home from Wilbright, going north to our house, and there's at least 4 or 5 streetlights on A1A that are out. So who's responsible for that? And it was late at night for us. Usually we're in bed before the sun goes down. But these were at least 4 or 5 on the FPL poles. You know, they're the big tall ones.
Hey, Chief, can I have one of the officers one night, just check that out, give us a report?
They do it monthly. We'll make sure they continue.
All right.
Yeah, we contact FPNL with the poll number and they go out and look at it if we're aware of any.
All right. Christie, you're up.
Yeah, they come out at night.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to provide an update that I have received all 5 of the commissioner evaluations for the town manager for 2025. I provided those to the town clerk who has them in case of any public records requests. And so I believe based on our discussion at the last meeting, they were all going to be provided to the mayor to then have a one-on-one discussion with the town manager.
Okay.
That's it.
Is that it? I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
That house, it's Ken's leaving now, but that house on
113
113, yeah.
Yes.
Now, have they been informed by us that, hey, do you realize that your fines are now close to $50,000 and you're being fined every day?
Yes, they have.
And we were going to have a meeting with the planning and zoning about that, and what happened with that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We were notifying them that we wanted them to come to the planning and zoning meeting and discuss what was going on, and
Planning and
where we
zoning
at?
commission could ask them to come back and
Mhm.
ask them about status. That's certainly something that they could request. There's nothing in our land development codes that would require that.
Okay.
So if planning and zoning commission wants to ask them to come back to provide a status update, they can give staff that direction. We'll send the request to the property owner.
Well, can the town commission increase the fines?
Since it's a community standards order. Since
Can
it's,
I ask a question, please? So it's the same builder who just started a project on Hudson Avenue.
Thank you.
And he had come before the planning and zoning with the owner, and they were gonna get started in finishing the house.
I know, that's why I'm asking the question, Carolyn, and that's why that's my whole point, it's $275 per day. Now, they're at almost $50,000 right now. So that's why the town should maybe send them a little hello letter that, you're at this amount of money.
I sent a certified mail to the owners and to the builder.
You did send it.
I did send it.
And when'd you send that?
What day was that?
Last week?
It was last week.
Okay. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, and since it is a community standards special magistrate order, that we can't increase the fine.
All right.
They have to come into compliance. Once they come into compliance, they can always come and ask for a lien reduction.
Well, isn't there a max amount? There's no max amount? Isn't there a certain point where it's a tipping point?
Nope, it just keeps accruing until they come into compliance or something else happens.
Okay.
I even explained to them that it would stop once they complied, and I told them what compliance would be. And nothing,
Is it still a valid permit?
no, they have not applied for a permit.
Yes, sir.
Just a point of information, Richard Zizzo, 1 Hudson Avenue. That building lot, when I think it was resold, and I think it's listed on Papa right now as a Nevada LLC with a mailing address in Tennessee. So I just wanted to just let everyone know that this builder, Bella Homes, is a master of hiding behind LLCs. And Papa listed, verify that now, as a Nevada LLC with a mailing address in Tennessee. So if that's where everyone is sending their information to and looking for who's gonna respond, I have no idea how that's gonna turn out, but my suspicions are up with this person. As a matter of fact, he even made the comment when he was here in the chambers that his designer, and I've talked to architects and they told me that he's really just a cat jockey. But anyway, his designer is now working on developing a new plan for that lot. So maybe that's a point of information also for consideration as to what is going on there. And I think it applies directly to Mr. Khalil too, because Mr. Khalil is a resident of that immediate block in that neighborhood. So I wanted to just provide the little bit that I knew, and I presented this to the town planning and zoning. I'm living right next door to it. I wish them all the best. I don't want the heartaches of what they created as what I consider to be a debacle in Ocean Ridge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Christie?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Yes, sir. My January report is in your packet. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I think the officers in that month, they stopped 359 cars. They're very active. We had three felony arrests, 4 misdemeanors. We gave out 111 citations.
What's a felony traffic arrest?
A felony arrest?
Yeah.
This is the difference in the statute.
No, I understand, but were you talking traffic stops?
No, I said, traffic stops for 359. I said there were 4 felony arrests and 3 misdemeanor arrests.
I thought it was part of the traffic, that's what.
Our prescription drug, we have a flyer, you can put up, drug take back day. It's going right now, we'll take your prescription drugs that you are around your house that you no longer want, you can drop them off at our front lobby. We have a drop box there up until April 26th. And that's right in front by the dispatch in the front door. We hosted, in January, we hosted a very successful CPR AED Stop the Bleed class too that was well received. And we'll continue on with that. And that's all I basically.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Chief. All right, Steve, you're up. Beach Patrol.
So, spring break is upon us, and I was talking to the chief this past week. I don't know how many of you get to go to the beach frequently. I do, particularly on the weekends. And right now, it's beginning. The wave is beginning at the beach, and of course, Beachway.
No pun intended.
That's true. No pun intended. Particularly Beachway and Porter Street, Porter crossover. The influx of people is probably 5 times what there was prior, let's say a month ago. And the spring, Georgia and Florida are on spring break now. So they're on spring break right now. The other colleges start Monday. So we're going to get even more people. Beachway is particularly sensitive because we're right over the bridge. You guys are the next one up. So you guys are sensitive.
Would you say it's mostly weekends or?
Weekends. There's a lot of people during the week because it's spring break, so they come during the week. But there are definitely more. I'd say during spring break, there's probably a 30 to 40% increase on weekends. Weekdays, there's a 30% compared to a usual weekday, maybe 50%. So I asked the chief, can we get back to the ATV patrols because the police presence is prevented, and put a car at the end of Beachway and have the officers actually patrolling during, let's say, the afternoons, the weekends for sure, from now through Easter. The other thing is we did have an incident at Beachway. I don't know how many of you know this. Recently, some young people, most likely college or just out of college, were down there causing issues, and the end result of that was that they slashed the chairs on the beach when they left. So the chief apparently needs commission discussion or permission to get the ATVs back on the beach because it involves overtime.
They never left the beach. We do one patrol every shift. The midnights do a patrol, the day shift. They just did a patrol before we came in.
The amount of time I spent at the beach, I haven't seen one ATV.
They usually, because I get requests that they're in the morning for dog violations in the very early morning and at sunset.
Right, so that's
they
two patrols.
If they get out, they may miss a day, but I can definitely supplement.
Right, that's
during
right.
spring break with extra patrols, especially on the weekends.
Right. Because what happens is, let's say they're just going up and down the beach for 5 hours, let's say.
They got the whole beach to go to too. I mean, they're going from Rhine all the way to the inlet.
Sure. It slows down the thought of committing vandalism or doing something stupid.
Now, is that going to cost us extra? Do you need any kind of approval for money or money?
I can supplement with a few hours. That's why I'm saying if it's just weekends, for extra patrols, I can supplement that with a little overtime for just dedicated to ATV patrol. Because what I take pride in is that our crime is down. We have not had a single stolen car, a burglary, a theft in probably about almost 2 years. They're doing a good job. That's, and if dogs is the main concern and spring breakers, we'll go after it.
I'm more worried about bad behavior beginning. What's happening once somebody posts something on Instagram, we're cooked.
That, I strongly suggest that residents also don't confront somebody with a dog or somebody that they think is doing something wrong. Please contact us first, because these people are confrontational with us even.
Yeah.
And I don't want, them retaliating if they think that, you know, you call the police on us. If you just call us, they have no idea. So just, I strongly don't confront people.
I totally agree with your
Not
point.
you, I'm just saying.
Maybe the officers should be instructed, if somebody does call, when they get to the beach, they don't walk immediately up to that person.
No.
You know, I don't know how they're gonna get the information they need to know where they're supposed to
Well,
go.
they should give, you know, just
Give a
give it up
phone
to the
call.
dispatch, right?
Are we increasing the fine for dogs to $100?
Well, hold on,
That's
that's
up to,
So, were you stealing my thunder right now?
So what do we
So I
decide?
think the dog, the fine is $25.
first offense, 20.
First offense. Well, for any people not to do something, it's gotta be painful, right? So at $25, let's face it, you can't fill your old car up with gas for $25. So why not do $150? You know what I mean? But I'm saying, you got four things. You've got your warning, which is free. Now, what happens is, your name and everything about you goes into the database here at town. So if you're caught again, you can't say, well, it's my first time. Well, no, it's not, because here it is right here.
Well,
So,
we've been enforcing, I mean, we gave out 2 tickets Friday. One of the, you know, we've had people, residents with dogs run from us. When they see the ATV, they lie to us
Did you
about
see that video?
disability. You know, it's.
well, let me ask you a question, before we begin. How many recurring people do you catch? What percentage?
I don't know the stats.
Maybe
So, I
50%?
mean, we had a instance the other day where the guy had been warned, but over several years. I mean, he was on his third, but he actually claimed he was on his private property. Then we have to go back and look at body camera, look at property lines, where he was when he got the infraction.
So you answer my question, is it 50%, is it 60%?
For multiple violations,
Mhm.
I don't know the exact number of multiple violations.
Well, I guess my point is that you gotta make it painful. So the first is a warning. Okay, the second one should be at least $100. And then after that, your second warnings go double from there. And then, you know, that's what I would do.
And we're proactive is on the street, when we see these people getting out of their car with a dog and they're walking to the beach. Officer Deb stops somebody today. The dog got out of a baby car seat and the dog had a bathing suit on.
Had a what?
A bathing suit. They can testify.
Wow. Unbelievable.
We'll see him walk across A1A from Oceanfront Park and we'll warn him, don't take the dog down to the beach. And it's a mixture, you know, of residents and non-residents that violate the dog violation.
So is the consensus to raise the fine up to at least $100?
I'm good with it. I would say $100, yeah.
$100.
Okay.
There you go, chief.
So $100 first offense. and
First
then
offense.
we go up
I
from
thought
there.
first offense is a warning.
No, the first offense, no, it's a warning, and then
First you
your
get a
first
warning, and
offense.
Okay.
Yeah, your first offense, not a, I mean, you don't turn anything for the warning, obviously.
What's that?
Nothing for the warning, obviously, but the second time you're caught, that's when you're getting the $100.
And they give out warnings and they've given out, they do the enforcement.
So, Mr. Mayor, we will have to change the ordinance because our citation fees are set by ordinance. But also keep in mind that if they don't pay it on time, and we actually take them before the magistrate, and they also get hit with court costs, which are currently $230.
About 173.
Thank you, 173.
And every single citation we give has a court date on it if they want to change.
All right, well, either way, once you bring the ordinance back on April, we'll look at the ordinance and we'll change it the way you want to.
Okay.
Sound good?
Beautiful.
Is that it? All right, last thing is the,
You said I could speak.
yes, you can.
Public speaking.
Public.
Okay. First of all, I don't even know what, well, he did say that at the beginning, right? Okay. So I don't even know why we're giving these people warnings. We have got signage out there, got signage right when you get to the beach, and these people, they don't care. I mean, and I don't care if they're residents, I don't care where they're coming from, over the bridge or whatever. I don't care if that dog is in their lap. And this past week, I can't tell you, there has to be at least 4 or 5 times that I have seen dogs poop on the beach, and only one of the owners would pick it up. And now these people are running off the beach, and I try not to talk to anybody right now, for sure. But how do you just sit there and say, hey, pick up after your dog? Now, if you went to our beach today, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, there was 4 bags of number 2 on the beach. I'm not gonna pick them up. Now, I just don't think that it's fair, and the ATV is not even so much for the dogs. It is for the protection of the people that have, that go to the beach. I apologize, 'cause I'm kind of upset about this. Everybody talks about our property values. The reason our property is worth what it is because we have the beach. Like, my house would be worth nothing if it wasn't for this town and this beach. So this is what we've got to protect. We've got to protect us. I think, I'm a big component of your guys. I think you guys are doing a great job and always have. And, I salute you with that, and I've praised you many times. But right now, when we have all this season coming up and these people, we need to get presents out there. Thank you.
They drive the ATV, like I say, and it's probably going 10, 15 miles an hour, whether they stop in one place for very long. I can encourage them to stop at certain spots, but they are patrolling from Briny Breezes to the inlet, and it goes out.
Lucy Brown, Harbor Drive. The worst thing about no dogs on the beach is there are big signs on every beach access saying dogs not allowed on beach. So every single time the resident or non-resident goes happily skipping past the sign with their dog, we are saying to them, our rules mean nothing.
And it all depends if
Everybody
there's
on the beach with the dog
a
says
service
that
dog.
everybody does it. And someone told me, I take my dog there at sunrise. There's nobody around. It doesn't hurt anybody. Nobody thinks anything of breaking that rule. Let's not have it if we're not enforcing it.
Okay, Chief.
So there are gonna be dogs on the beach, and they're, the officers can only ask 2 questions. Is that a service dog, and what service does it provide? If they give us an answer of one of the designated, services, then we cannot chat. They can have a dog on the beach.
All right, well, how about this? And we hear this every single year at this time. Around February 1st, around May 1st, we go through this. Every single one of these meetings, do we not? Do the same thing. What about in the next budget cycle, add whatever money you think is going to be necessary to increase whatever you have to increase to have somebody patrolling the beach, especially during the weekends, and taking care of it. And now, this particular time, if you need to get the overtime approved, just let us know. Hey, this is what it's going to cost for me to do this. Well, it's using what's the name officer, reserve officer, or whatever you have to do. So you can see what the nature of the residence is here. Now, the other point is, what about placing a couple cameras, like on Beachway and Porter Street? And couldn't the dispatch actually monitor that?
The officer has to observe it. They can't go by, a camera.
Yeah, but the dispatch say, hey, guys, there's a dog
They have a lot
walking
to
the beach, and then
monitor with stuff right now, but I don't know how much they would catch by an actual camera for dog violence.
So wait a minute, are you saying that if a video camera at the beach or on a road captures somebody breaking the law, the police officer can't do anything about that?
And just like a traffic citation, we can't give you a citation. The officer has to observe it.
It can't be on video?
right, but the point about it is, though, you have a camera that the dispatch sees, hey, geez, there's a dog walking on the beach. At that point, we can send somebody over there, and then the policeman can verify that, oh, there's some dog walking on the beach. Okay? What's wrong with that? And maybe we can get somebody to donate the money to the 2 cameras on the beach. I'm just throwing it out there.
Lieutenant Chauvin, the only issue with that may be is that our dispatchers already, we have 1 dispatcher working. They have people walking in the front lobby. They're monitoring LPR systems. They're taking traffic stops. We're encouraging them to do increased traffic. As he said, we did 400 and whatever traffic stops. crime is low right now because we're telling them, go be proactive, focus on these things. We have 3 officers that work at a time. To take one of those and someone else is on vacation and dedicate them to beach patrol leaves 1 officer in the town to respond to any number of situations.
Right.
We saw what happened with the wood chipper incident here. We have people in town that have heart attacks. We have people in town that have very serious things that we respond to, and they count on us to be there immediately. You're taking one of the officers now, putting them on an ATV, and they are not able to respond quickly to these incidents. So
Well, maybe, okay, well, hold on a second. I understand what you're saying. I respect, wait. I respect what you're saying. And I respect what you're saying. So if you're telling me that the town of Ocean Ridge needs 1 more officer, we need to pay for another officer, another car, then that's what I guess we'll do. It's not like, this town is not we have never said no. We do the best we can to make sure our residents are supported. And if you're telling me I need 4 officers now, and then give us a price to do it, and let's decide on it as a group and stop making excuses why we only have 3. Okay, well, maybe we should get 1 more. Let's do what it takes. Is what I'm saying. Do whatever it takes.
Well, I want to know what times, it's going to be hard to staff somebody on the beach all the time.
I'm not saying to be on the beach all the time, Chief. You guys are making it sound like I want some guy sitting there getting baked by the sun the whole time. They're not. I'm asking is that if we have to have to have another police officer in town the whole time, if you're telling me that's what it's going to take for us to do what the residents are asking, give me a budget number is going to be. Let's add it to the budget. Let's add it to the budget and see if the town as commissioners will go for it.
Certain people go to the beach all the time, and they do call us, and we respond. And we either take enforcement or we find out that it's a service dog. I'd hate to pay somebody 12 hours to ride up and down the beach overtime, and then I say, how many dogs do you encounter? They encountered 1.
Yeah, but this is.
Yeah, but that's not the
about
point
dogs.
we're trying to make.
But the chief is asking, what's the time period? That's your question. I would say, and anybody can correct me if they want, noon to 5 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday. That's what we're talking. Anybody want extended hours beyond that?
I think there's an issue
Till
that
6.
occurs early in the morning as well, and I'm gonna leave it at that, but, it's not just a weekend thing.
But that's what I'm trying. I don't know why we're arguing about this, because it seems to me if we need more patrols and we need more officers, then suggest it. I can't do it with what I have in the way that you want me to do it. That's what you're saying. And so if we need something else.
Well, I think the other thing that he's saying is if someone is hanging out on the beach for 4 hours, we're not on the beach for 4 hours. Do you want us to be on the beach throughout the day? He's saying there's some early morning issues. I hear that there's some afternoon issues. We've gotten calls in the middle of the day with now spring break and things going on. Is it better to have a full-time beach officer
As
during
far
the
as
day?
Beachway South, I'd say 12 to 6 is the only time we have any issues, including dogs. As far as the morning dogs, don't you see those people walking down the street to the beach?
Yeah, we stop.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're getting way, it's not about.
To your point, I understand.
It's not the dogs on the beach. I don't, exactly what to your point, I don't want to take off the fact we had no car break-ins and no house break-ins. I do not want to risk that by taking the
Or maybe we
thing
think
on
about
the
a code
beach.
enforcement position that does it. I mean, I don't know.
I am not law enforcement. I'm just the guy sitting up here trying to make everybody happy in the town, and that's kind of hard. But the thing about it is, but I do know that if there's a problem, and how do I fix that problem? And if you're telling me the only way to fix that problem is to have an additional officer during patrol, we'd have to probably get 2 because of the fact of the timing. Now, I'm not saying the guy sits there all day long. Now we have another officer on the road patrol. Okay?
Well, 6
But
hours is half a shift, noon to 6 is half a shift.
So there you go. But you see what I'm saying? It's now a process to start thinking about, because every single year we go through this, every single year, and every single year at this time. So why not we start making it into part of the way we do the service here? Can I just suggest that?
Like I said, there's never going to be a day where there's going to be 0 dogs on the beach, because you are going to have that service dog out there, and you're going to think that it's not allowed.
Chief, like I said, is there ever going to be a day? No. But if this way, if you're telling me you guys don't want another officer or 2, then okay.
No, that's fine. I mean, I do budget for that if that's the wishes of the town.
Are you talking overtime or hiring?
No, higher time. If we're talking
don't
about
need
the fact, to see, what do you mean you don't need to?
Because
By
what
saying you
Aaron
don't need
says,
to, you're
if
basically
somebody's
saying I'm
on
not gonna sell.
vacation, that's what he was saying. It said, there's 3 officers, one's on vacation, one's at the beach, we got 1 left. So you wouldn't do that anyway. If you had somebody on vacation, you'd replace that with another person, right?
So he's on
They'd
vacation.
be working overtime if you brought in an additional.
That was the
Can
original.
I, excuse me, this is way too much time.
Yeah.
Can we just ask our police officers to try to address this and come up with an idea, and they can try it, if it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Sure, we can brainstorm some ideas.
The only thing is,
Why are we sitting here talking?
it
about
needs to
this?
commence, because it needs to commence this coming weekend, the 12th to 6, with an ATV on the beach.
So he said he's
To
gonna do
handle
it.
that through overtime, I don't care
So
how.
he's gonna try that. If it doesn't work, we'll try something.
And a car at the end of each way, which doesn't cost you anything.
I still say you plan on, hey, this is what, give us some options, right?
Yeah, we can put a detail out potentially. I mean, I don't want to speak for the chief.
Well, it's a voluntary thing. I hate to mandate somebody. I mean, I would look for volunteers too. So this spring break, I will supplement it with overtime.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We trust you to figure something out.
I apologize, but I just have to make you aware of something. I was not going to mention this earlier. This is just not about the dogs. It's not about the dogs. It is about safety. I'm living here 26 years, and all that time, I never was followed from the beach. Not only me, but another resident, another lady who was on the beach was followed from the beach to her house. I had to run, which is not a pretty picture, and go to somebody else's hedges. I don't pay taxes here to live like this. I am very upset. My husband is very upset. This is not about dogs.
I'm sorry, I
You
thought
have to understand that.
That
Who was following you? Someone with a
Okay.
dog, you mean?
That
No,
circumstance,
someone who
you
had
said
his
something to
bike.
somebody with a dog. I think.
No, I did not. I called the officer. It was the man with the bike, okay?
Right,
He
there was
had
a
a
dog.
bike. No bike was allowed on the beach.
They
a
got a
neighbor
citation,
called-
2 citations.
We got to, so,
Okay, that's not even, the point is, no woman or man in this town should feel unsafe going to the
Agreed.
beach. And that is what it's all about. It's not about the damn dogs all the time. I apologize.
thank you.
Thanks for clarifying that, because that's the first time I heard that.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to do all this, but now that we keep talking about dogs, it's making me nuts.
Well, that's why I strongly suggest that you don't confront these people.
So I'm about dog tired right now, so I figured maybe, is that it for the meeting?
You better go feed your dog.
So meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming. See you next month.